Hi guys, and thanks for tuning in once again. Now, you remember at the end of the last episode, I replaced the spring on the driver's side because it had snapped basically on a driveway. Now, I always do these in pairs anyway, but I'm amazed to see, as I've taken the wheel off here, I mean, come and have a look at this. This spring's broken, it's come out of its seat here. It's broken further up as well on the top. And this is just sitting on a driveway. I mean, how bad is that? Like I said before, if this happened on a motorway, it's good night Vienna. And I have to say, I'm absolutely disgusted by the quality nowadays of BMWs, because they was always known to be a robust car. You know, the build quality was always fantastic on them. But I think what happened is in the late 90s, early 2000s, as I said in the last episode, they started to try to compete with the likes of Audi or Skoda, who'd up the game as well. And, you know, in the battle to sell more cars, they decided to throw cheaper components on the car, which wear out quicker and snap like these springs, which are really dangerous and really kind of take the shine off the respectability and the quality that BMW have been all about over the years. But I mean, what can I say? I got a message off a guy who's replaced 12 springs. He's got 2 of these cars, and over the last 6 years he's replaced 12 springs. So that just gives you an idea of how crap these, you know, the quality of the bits on these cars they're putting on nowadays actually are. Look, I'm not going to dwell too much on this today, because as you know, we're going to finish the Corniche brakes off. I'm going to fit the new spheres, do any repairs, bleed the system, and hopefully we'll have a good braking system and it'll all be up and running to move the car and drive it about. But quickly, let me just show you this. Right, so if you're a normal home mechanic like myself and you decide to have a go, we don't want to be taking our lives into our own hands, do we? We want to always err on the side of safety. So I had a little flick about on the internet to find other options. And I found this. Oh, look at that. Got a nice new spring, nice new shock absorber, nice top hat, you've got your new buffer and your boot. I mean, where can you go wrong with that? If these springs are going every couple of years, which they are, even the BMWs do, then how can you go wrong with this? If you're going to be replacing them anyway, everything's British standard nowadays, as you know. You know, for me, that just saves a lot of faff, messing around with them little spring compressors and waiting for the bomb to go off and kill yourself. So I just think this is a much easier option. You literally take the old components off, shove this one up, as the lady said to the vicar, and you're home and dry. So I'm going to give it a go with this, and like I say, it saves all that danger, all that messing about with them stupid little spring compressors. And for me, you know, I think these were like £150 for the pair, which isn't bad when you take into consideration if you bought the spring, the top hat, the buffer, the shock absorber, you're into more than that anyway. So this is the way I'm going to go with this one, just to give you guys another option, because I think it's a great idea. And before you all start messaging and saying, look, it's a load of rubbish, they're made in China, they're not, they're actually made in France. And for me, this is the much safer option. But first things first, let's get back to this Rolls-Royce. Now, remember last time, I removed those old worn out spheres. I received some brand new ones from IntroCar. So, as always, let's get stuck in and get these fitted. But first, I need to address that leaking brake pipe at the rear. As you can see, it's more or less inaccessible as usual. And already, I can see it's going to be one of those jobs. And I have to say, I'm not a big fan of this horrible tar-like underseal. You know, it's a shame because this car's received brand new floors, but at the rear where it hasn't, it's literally just been painted over all the brake pipes and, oh, it's just awful. Now, this would probably take me weeks to strip off, but at the moment, I'm just going to get the car up and running, and I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Now, this pipe, the clips are totally inaccessible and painted over with all the underseal. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the pipe and then run a brand new one alongside it and try and clip it in. Now I've run out of my UNF fittings. All I have is metric, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to reuse this one. Now it's a tricky one, this, because it runs over the axle. It's just a case of measuring it bit by bit and then trying to shape it exactly the same as the old one. And then all I've got to do now is work out how I'm going to get this back in. That'll do. Right. Let's see how we go with this. So it starts here, travels all the way down, then it turns the corner, goes over the axle, and then we're there. You can see the little cable ties there and there, and I basically just strapped it to the old one just for stability for the time being, and I can sort that out at a later date. And now to replace those steel braided brake pipes, the feed and returns that go down by the accumulators. Now, top tip, when you're fitting the O-ring, just use a bit of the red rubber grease, just to help it stick. And then carefully fit it up into the recess. And then once that's in, then offer the accumulator up. Because a common mistake people make is they end up crushing the O-ring and it's toast. And they have to send out for another one and the job just goes on and on. So just err on the side of safety and just take your time. All good. Right. So, as we move around to the rear of the car, this maybe isn't quite so easy. As you can see, we've got the soft top frame blocking them in, so we've got to move it up. And as I do, as you can see there, it hits the ceiling. So, let's see if I get a block of wood here. Oh, it's really heavy, this frame. And I don't want to damage it all the same. But if I put another block under that side, then it gives me a little bit better access there, because otherwise I've got to lower the car and then I'm into all kinds of problems because, well, yeah, I'm sure you can see anyway. Stay. Now, there's supposed to be a little bleed nipple here somewhere. Should be on the valve, or where the sphere goes into it. No, I can't see anything there. Let's take a little look underneath. Oh yeah, I see it now. See it through there? Yeah, it's like on a block. Yeah, that looks like it. Yep. Yeah, it's there. So we get a pair of gloves on, a little tube, a bottle for the fluid to go into, and let's just see if there's any pressure in there. There should be, but you never know. Best to be on the safe side. Now, as you can probably see, I've got axle stands placed under the back legs, but just as a safety precaution, because I don't know whether the car's going to drop when I take these spheres off or the pressure's released. So I've placed the jack under the axle just in case it drops. Well, that was a bit of a damp squib. There's a little bit of pressure in there, but yeah. Tighten it up again. Go around to the other one. And that's more or less the same. Hardly any pressure in it at all. And as you can see, I've had to jack this one up with a bit of scaffolding, just so I could get the purchase on it and it wouldn't snap it off the bracket. And as you can imagine, this one was stuck fast. So an hour later, with a cold chisel and a persuader and these useless tongs, eventually, success. Right, so that's it guys, nearly there. I've just got a few hoses to fit for the reservoirs. There's a couple here, there's a couple over there as well. So I'll be getting on with these. Yeah, so now the accumulators are all fitted and I've done that repair at the back, as you know. The only thing I'm waiting for is a tiny adapter. It's like a little tube with a fitting that goes in here onto the reservoir. And that's how you put your LHM into the system. And it's all, you know, at a high pressure, as I've explained. So everything has to be done properly. And I think, fingers crossed, we've got no more leaks and everything should power up and bleed up nicely. So I've been trying to source one. They're a part that comes with the car when it's new. And they were all readily available for years, but as a lot of things, they become obsolete and no longer available. Castrol used to do a little kind of bottle with the adapter attached to it, but because they're no longer available, you look around on eBay and you may be lucky if you find one like in the States for like $200 or something that's been sitting on someone's shelf for years, but you know, they're in real short supply. I know that IntroCar have had them on back order for a long time. They're a very popular thing and they're very scarce. But anyway, IntroCar are good enough. They've sourced me one. It's coming in the morning. So as soon as it comes, I'll do an episode on bleeding the system through from front to back. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that'll give us a nice dependable braking system. I'll move us one step further to getting this amazing, beautiful supercar back on the road. So once again, guys, thank you for tuning in, and also thank you so much for all your support, and see you all next time. Thank you for watching this episode of Classic Obsession. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you all next time.